to mention tomorrow that we're going to have Robert Wagner here at 3 o'clock. He's a professional car dealer, and he's got a memoir about some of the quirky and funny and interesting stories he's experienced in the various casinos he's worked. So tomorrow at 3 o'clock, if y'all want to make it to that. So who do we have first?
Oh, okay. It's so embarrassing to do this, but following Catherine Carter. So the first person up tonight did not sign in. There is one and nothing written in. Thank you very much. Was this your sneak?
She was in
peek?
theater.
I said, I'm not gonna read first tonight.
He did. He was leaving space for everybody.
Yes.
And then all y'all
It worked,
called
didn't
him
it?
and said, no. Reading first tonight for us is the one and only Dave Walker.
Thank you.
Yay!
I want to put in a plug for a book I'm reading right now, and I highly recommend it. Actually, I highly recommend a lot of books. But the one I'm reading right now is called Like a Mother. And that's all it says, Tom. It does not say anything else.
Anything else, any other?
No, it does not say that. I said like a mother.
Okay.
It's a tremendous writing and a tremendous look at womanhood, pregnancy, birth, and life after birth. It's just really an amazing book. And I'm only about a third into it.
What got you onto that book?
I heard it on NPR. She was talking about the myths that surround pregnancy and childbirth, and the fact that it's mostly been looked at through male eyes. Hasn't been looked at through the eyes of women, and that women have been pushed down in medicine, even in this field, for centuries until just recently, and they're beginning to take a hold. It looks like. Very interesting book. And it inspired me to come up with 2 short pieces. If one of them's too long, y'all just say, hey, you ain't got time.
Well, I'm going to be real loosey-goosey about the time because y'all know this routine. But if somebody starts to be obviously annoying, then we'll all have to say, thank you so much. But I trust all y'all 3 and read what you brought.
All right, I think these 2 pieces are different. I won't swear to it, but I think they are. The first one is called Maintain Our Humanity. Quite sadly, Donald Trump fails to realize that one person can't make another respect him or her. Each person has the ability and opportunity to make himself or herself respect others. But none of us has the ability to force others to respect us. Think of your own lives now. You were brought up a certain way and trained a certain way. Think about what I'm saying. I don't believe you can make someone respect you. We may make them fear us, but fear is not respect. There is a requirement for the human need for respect to be fulfilled indirectly rather than directly. Some human needs, as outlined by famous psychologist Abraham H. Maslow, are best met directly. Air, water, food, rest, and other physiological needs. The dog-eat-dog philosophy that Trump espouses tends to give his ilk a sense of self-worth, self-reliance, and superiority. It's a false sense that leaves him devoid of feeling for others. In his famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Rick Warren reminds us that we are stronger and accomplish greater things when we work in a system marked by interdependence rather than as individuals independent of each other. The world is his witness as Donald Trump gravitates to the meanest, least humane, most authoritarian rulers on the planet. Short of a major miracle, Trump will only spiral downward, not upward. He will not promote America as the benevolent big brother we are capable of being and have been. We must maintain our humanity in spite of Trump.
I agree, 100%.
This one is, some people would classify this as irreverent. And they can if they want to. Jesus coming to Sylva. Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani have combined their considerable political talents to arrange for Jesus to make a special appearance at the Bridge Park Pavilion in Sylva, North Carolina on June the 31st, 2018 from 3 a.m. until sunrise. The focus of the event will be the 7 cardinal sins: pride, lust, envy, greed, gluttony, wrath, and sloth, as well as Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Trump and Giuliani will press Jesus to lighten up a bit on his extreme views on each of these topics.
Oh, God.
Contending that they are a poor fit for modern America. Trump will handle Jesus as an apprentice participant. Franklin Graham will serve as MC. Sarah Huckabee Sanders will lead the White House choir in singing Old Time Religion. Admission only $100 per head. Parking at the Sylva Post Office. Shuttle to Bridge Park, only $50. Return to Post Office, only $100. Bring your own lawn chair or rent to own a souvenir Trump chair at $100 plus 12 easy $25 monthly payments. Trump, Giuliani, Sanders, and Graham will sign autographs at $100 apiece. At sunrise, the stars, Trump, Graham, Giuliani, and Sanders, will baptize loyalists as well as converts in the historic Sylva Fountain. No one will want to miss this once in a lifetime event.
Oh my word. Oh my word. Dave Waldrop, what have you done to us? I want to ask about both those pieces. Are you thinking about, or where are you thinking about publishing them?
Will the Sylva Herald let you put them in?
The Sylva Herald has been decent to me. I don't look for them to take, I don't look for anybody. I may send, I don't know where to send that.
The second one, I know.
That's powerful BS and satire.
That's great. I think you go ahead and write it to the Sylva Herald.
Well, I can send
Let it to the editor.
They've not been putting a lot of my stuff in recently. They might even take the maintain our humanity.
Yeah, I think they might do
But
that.
the Sylva Herald is not going to let me up on that next one. It could be classified as irreverent.
You know,
New York Times might post
Yeah, it needs to be, yeah. Or even a magazine rather than a newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd love to hear you, I guess especially the first one, I'd love to hear you even develop it more, just, you know, double the words or something. I mean, oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I classify myself as a boxer.
Oh, boy.
Because I try to get stuff within about a 3-minute time frame. I'm also, being a songwriter, was a
Oh,
good
yeah.
song a long time ago was 3 minutes.
Mhm.
That's not true anymore. They're running songs on the air right now with 5 minutes.
Look at Freebird.
Huh?
Look at Freebird. 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Most of his
Well, there you go.
And heard it through the grapevine, will run about 9 minutes by CCR. But I would like to get, I think this was a pretty decent bunch of BS. It was satire.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking
Yeah,
first class.
Yeah, work it.
Do something
Oh, yeah.
I've even thought about just calling up the Citizen or maybe the Charlotte Observer or the Atlanta paper and saying, okay, I'm sending you this and I'm going to take it, I want it as an ad. I want it so BS looking.
I would give you money if it
Oh,
cost.
So that people aren't sure if it's real or not.
Yeah.
And they won't even, some won't even stop and say, wait a minute, June the 31st? There ain't no such thing.
Can we go?
Well, duh, they'll be putting it on the counter going, the calendar's wrong.
Let's get it on the calendar. Wait a minute, which calendar?
I don't know.
Well, on that note, thank you, Dave Waldrop, for being
Yeah.
our second reader of the evening, and now we shall turn to Matt.
What does that cost? Autumn, you know stuff like this. You're looking at 200 words.
Yeah. That's a letter to the editor.
Huh?
That's a
No, but
letter
if
to
you
the
make, takes it
editor.
out of
If you're putting a lot, display ad in the Sylva Herald for
A couple of hundred, maybe.
maybe,
150?
Depend if you
maybe, yeah.
See, I-
Maybe not even that much. I mean, well, it depends. Like a quarter page maybe?
Yeah.
You want a quarter page?
Yeah, then
It would be neat to have it in the Herald,
$400.
because it's talking about Sylva, and, people say, but there are people around here who don't like me being irreverent.
Yeah.
So,
You're always gonna find those.
but now the paid for by,
Oh, yeah.
this is what's gonna be interesting.
Friends of David Wall.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna put
No,
paid for by.
You'll need a good picture of Jesus to put in there, really,
Yeah.
to let him know who's coming.
Yeah, and he's gotta be just as wide as we can get him. He's gotta be angled. It's gonna be paid for by, B-Y-E, Donald, D-O-N-A-L-T, Rump,
Oh,
Foundation.
Oh, gosh.
Everything's gonna be.
It's so adorable, yeah.
it sounds like an awkward Bart Simpson phone call.
There you go, there you go. Okay, Matt Nelson, what have you brought?
I know they're one of these parts. Until a few years ago, I didn't know these people existed, but I listened to their most recent album, if you don't count the Christmas thing, and they've sent back about 40 years, so you guys might recognize it, but if you don't, I'll still explain it. And actually, you might actually have heard two snippets of two of their songs for a pizza commercial and also animal feeding. Yeah, okay. The world isn't for you to enjoy. There's no longer golden country filled with riches. You can't start a new life without consequences. What you need is to open up to the past. Until then, you'll be lost in dreams that plague others. Sure, you can do your best to ignore the pain, yet soon things will be out of control and hard to quell. Making your lives about life turn to a horrible poison. Perhaps you'll find another lost soul to dance with, although any kind of love is a luxury in today's world. Others will keep pushing on to find their bit of happiness, however, and remain riding the storm out without help. As people in power are the ones to build the bridge of hope, we can't look the other way forever, no matter how hard we try. Hoping that that smiling halfway is good enough for everyone else. Every now and then you feel even your happiness is fading. I know listening to the words from the son of a poor man is pointless, and you'll be running blind and fast for some time longer. Yet it's time for me to fly to someplace far away and better. Where tough guys no longer talk loudly with their fists, or attempt to summon lightning just to prove they can. Being a good person is never out of season or style. So even though being kind can really hurt sometimes, as that ain't love, faking positive emotions. However, you have to take it on the run and endure as much as possible. After all, you have to roll the changes to ensure you roll with them. No matter if you feel like you have 9 lives that will never end. So you have to live every moment as much as you can. Even if you have to wait for more than one lonely night. Always keep the fire burning in your heart to mow away the sorrow, but don't ignore the screams and whispers of those who still need help. Accidents can happen, but never forget they can be fixed with time, despite feeling the world is already over the edge of despair. Love is a rock that will never go anywhere far. When you're ready to see the future, meet me on the mountain. In my dreams, I've seen the world come together to hold on. The people who were tired of getting nowhere, no matter their speed. And showing that the heart survives longer than many realize. The stillness of the night is a good way to hear the dreams coming back. We all need a break from life to get back on our feet, so we can open up the rusted locks of our hearts and see hope remains waiting like an old friend caught in the river of life. As it's everywhere, trying to take us someplace unexpected, leading many headed for a fall into the shadows they greatly avoided. Tonight, you have to think where you want to go next, as wherever you're going isn't looking too bright or safe. I'll follow you long enough to see that you want to continue. I know that the journey will be worse than a gamble, yet go for broke by taking one more step after another, and in no time, the good trouble will show you the way. No matter what wheels are turning towards destiny. So you have to feel more love in trying to help others. If you turn back, you'll have to find your own way home. Being here with me will be all but impossible. You won't see me trying to get you to come back, as love in the future for someone who doesn't care belongs in another lifetime full of unending misery. Made from those who love to hate anything different, regret and a wasted life is a dangerous combination. So I suggest you get moving before it's too late. And don't take your sweet time making some new friends. Everything you feel is real, so don't be afraid and always remember you can fly high to peace. I know getting back on the road won't be easy, and you better realize hard work is in store. However, after all that, you'll be smiling in the end.
Well, okay.
Anyone want to take a guess?
You're the music man.
Actually, that's one of
hear
the songs. It's
It's
REO Speedwagon. In this case, basically say like "Keep on Loving You" is one of their songs, and that's essentially so what Don was using, like saying like, "Oh, keep on loving Pete." So like that's "Keep on Loving" said a woman who was ran around a little too much and can't fight this feeling any longer. Just when you see a bunch of cats looking up saying it's time to feed me.
Whoa.
Who's
Yeah.
the group?
REO Speedwagon.
REO, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
Now let me, well,
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised Auburn didn't get that, the documentary slash writer slash activist. But anyway, slash everything. Now, do you use just the titles, Matt, or do you also use lyrics?
most of the time it's just purely titles, but I did use like the title of the album. I said like 9 Lives. That's
Oh.
one because
Okay.
sometimes like when I did one for Styx, there were so many of their title albums had the song in there. It's like so it just fit perfectly in there. Like
Title of the album or the song?
yeah, but I've actually started to realize that I'm sounding more like some kind of guardian angel. Trying to say, hey, the work said you can have happiness, but it's not just you that's suffering in this thing. Like you're not the only person in this world. So
Wow.
yeah. And even though I have like dark commentary about it, it said there is always a silver lining to something. You just have to be willing to go as far as you can. It said, and if that means helping other people, so you both get stronger.
Mhm.
It said that's what you kind of need to do.
So you make poetry and interpret
Yes.
the poet, so to
Yes.
speak. Thank you.
What's the album that you influenced you the most?
Ooh.
REO Speedwagon. I'll need to get it.
Well, no, that's the title of the band. I would
I
say.
mean, the album that's
Yeah, which album?
most prevalent.
I would say the one that's called the hits. That's pretty much like their best of. But but you can also pick up the one that has like them through the years. But the first one I ever owned that was pretty good was Find Your Own Way Home. Yeah, 'cause it definitely has. It just had a lot of interesting love stories that almost like, yeah, they went modern for this stuff. All right.
I can see that work in the future, reincarnated with Okay, and our fourth and the finale reader of the evening, Abram has decided not to read.
Abram.
I asked him to sign up.
Hey, if you ain't through plumbing yet, come on.
I know,
I'm not caught up on my plumbing guy.
it's really cruel for you not to read.
What's the status on that book now? They wrote or forced the book
It's in progress.
in progress.
I asked him the same thing, and he says he's only 35 or 40 pages into something, and
Some 200 pages, I imagine.
so you got no excuse to have that out next week.
Go get him, Tom.
All right, our one and only Tom Baker.
Not that Tom Baker. Oh, the Doctor Who one.
This is the last little piece in the memoir of the young warrior wannabe, and I've shared it with you guys and gals, and you've become part of me and hearing this, so, thank you for that. It wasn't easy to do this, and this last piece is probably the hardest, so bear with me if I get a little upset. So, by the 1st of February 1969, I was finally getting short. Usually in the 1st of the month, if you're a door gunner, they would give you milk runs for your last couple of weeks, but we were short on gunners as usual, so guess what? H Company of the 75th Rangers, our alert unit, was doing a lot of sneaky peek shit over near the fish hook, getting ready for that Cambodian invasion that we didn't know about. And usually it was a simple task of running at treetop level for several miles before inserting the team into their assigned AO. But not always. The normal role of the alert teams were to lay in hiding and observe the movement on certain trails or areas. But we did have one team, and sometimes one individual who did sniper work. We would insert them or him into an area where the VC propaganda teams worked, and our guys would simply take them out. One of the problems that we ran into on this mission was that H Company had a new company commander. This new CO had heard rumors about some teams that would just hunker down when inserted, and in a couple of days call for extraction. And all the times we took these guys out, I never heard or experienced that. But the new CO was suspicious. The area around the fish hook was generally crawling with NBA movement. And late one afternoon, we took a team into that AO. As usual, we flew nap of the earth or treetop level for nearly 45 minutes before inserting the team. I'll never forget how the elephant grass and the shrub trees wouldn't allow us to touch down. The pilot asked, how high are we, Baker? Hell, I can't tell, sir. Maybe 8 or 9 feet. The elephant grass was swirling so bad I couldn't see shit. 2 alerts stood on the skids on my side of the chopper, 2 stood on the crew chief's side. They waited for me to tap them out. God, we can't wait here any longer, Baker. The gooks will know we're here. Tap them out. I tapped the team leader on the hip and out they went. Down, down, down. God, they must have fallen 12 or 13 feet. That is a long way to fall when you are loaded with 2 or 3 days of survival gear. When the team leader finally hit the ground and managed to stand up, he looked up at me and pointed his fingers. All I could do was shrug my shoulders. Now, unbeknownst to us, the alert company commander was monitoring every move we were making in that suspicion of his team. He was worried that his teams were slacking. We hauled ass out of the field and continued at treetop level for about 30 minutes. We just pulled up to 500 feet and was cruising back to Foot Bend when the alert team broke radio silence and requested immediate extraction. You put us down in the middle of a major NBA move. It was at that moment that the alert company commander came over the net. This is Talon 6, negative on the extraction. I repeat, negative on the extraction. You will evade and continue your mission. The radio went silent for about 10 seconds before we heard the alert team leader shout, "You will get us out of here or we will die." With that said, he keyed the mic and we could hear all hell breaking loose. AKA M16 fire snapping over the air. "Permission to extract the team," asked the pilot, who was already turning back towards the extraction point. I'll never know for sure, but I think we were going to go in regardless of what the headquarters said. There was silence as we went back nap of the earth. Seconds ticked by as the alert commander pondered his options. Then Colonel Peterson, that's who I normally flew with, voice. "This is Black Hawk 1. You will do the extraction. I repeat, you will do the extraction." That was all we needed to hear. We rolled towards the team who we could hear over the radio was in a world of shit. They hadn't moved more than a couple hundred yards before they had gotten hit when we let them out, and now they were fighting their way back to the old field. We knew we couldn't get low enough at the drop point, so we slid across closer to the tree line. The team burst out of the jungle and headed towards us. We were about 100 yards from them, but the NVA was right on their ass. We couldn't get a safe line of fire at ground level, so I told the pilot to raise us up. Damn, we were at 25 or 30 feet. And I could fire over the lurk's head as they were coming towards me, but the NVA was shooting at us. The team dropped to the ground at one point, and I fired across a stretch of ground about 75 or 100 feet wide. The 60 was smoking as the lurks jumped to their feet and sprinted towards us. I kept firing as the pilot lowered us down to the shrub trees dangerously close to snapping our rotors. Shit was flying as I reached down and dragged the team in one by one onto the skid. Two of them fired at the NVA and the other two crawled across the chopper to fly out the other side with the crew chief. I fired up the world as we raced away, several AK rounds streaking past while others pinged into the chopper. We all sat there wanting to shout, scream, or something. Instead, we took a deep breath and just stared out at the sunset. Just before we reached Spook Bend, the team leader reached into his rucksack and pulled out a wooden nickel. He looked at it for a second. He was right there, right next to him. And he handed it to me with a smile. The nickel was simply engraved, Headquarters, 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger. It's a memento that they gave out in certain situations. It was very heartfelt. That night, after checking out the damage to our chopper, I walked over to the small beer club that the cab had finally allowed us to have. I ordered a PBR and sat at a small table near the front. My mind drifted back to the day's fight while my hand shook over the beer. I had 1 week left in the country. God, I was sure. I didn't see the lurk team as they somehow sneaked in behind me. To clarify it a little here, I was the only paratrooper in H Troop. But all the lurks were paratroopers, plus they were rangers. They also knew how badly I had wanted to go to ranger school. Well, these guys surrounded me like they wanted to fight. My mind flashed back to that long drop I'd given them at the insertion. Did they want to fight me? I tensed and stood up. Relax, Baker. You saved our asses today, and we all know how much you wanted one of these. He handed me a ranger tab. Well, by God, now you're a ranger. Hoo-ah. I damn near cried. I wear that ranger tab on my Harley vest to this day. For the next couple of days, I flew several milk runs. We flew down to Benoit, and we flew to Bunk Town to grab a dozen cases of liquor for the officers club. While we were there, the pilot and co-pilot went off to do something. Me and the crew chief just hung out around the chopper. I happened to glance over and see a couple of red hats, parachute riggers, working on a skid load on a 123, so I wandered over to say hi. Lo and behold, one of them was a friend of mine from back at Basic and AIT. He also had been conned with a first sergeant into going to rigger school. He had been stationed at Bragg for several months and was only a month in country. A cherry. All I could say to him was good luck. 3 days. I only had 3 days left in Vietnam. Already had my shit packed for home when a call came in for a resupply. The 1st of the 9th had an observation and communication post dug in at the top of the only high mountain around, Nui Ba Dien, or Black Virgin Mountain. The Goots had overrun it the night before and were lobbing mortars down on the fire base at the foot of the Virgin. All the other gunners were out on missions, and that left me, so I raised my little hand. All the while my mind was screaming, "You're too short." But I went anyway. That's what you do. As we neared the Virgin, I could see 5 or 6 choppers circling the fire base in a holding pattern. Small clouds of dust and debris were blowing up around the grunts as they tried to secure the supplies being tossed out of the chopper. Mortar rounds shook the air as we waited our turn to land. "Oh shit," groaned the pilot. You have no idea how difficult the next 10 minutes were. My mind was screaming, my gut was churning, my hands were sweating like hell. God, I was scared. Our turn finally came when we touched down. The pilot kept the chopper at full throttle as 2 grunts ran towards me. One was a very scared black kid who looked at me as I handed him an ammo can. Don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing was an often used phrase when the shit got heavy. I repeated the lines. I threw ammo cans, C rations, and water jugs out the door. The last jug had just left my hand when I shouted, "Go, go!" Pilot shoved the cyclic stick forward and we leaped into the air. You could literally feel the impact of the mortars as the gooks walked them towards our chopper. 3 seconds later, we'd moved 50 to 100 feet when the mortar round hit dead in the center where I had unloaded. I never looked back. Didn't want to see it. My hand shook as I grabbed the 60 for support, shouted over the helmet, "I'm too short for this shit." I paused and I ain't going back. Pilot never said a thing. I think he was done for too. That night, Chuck hit us with a ton of rockets, one of which hit just outside my hooch. It was a dud. The last picture I have of myself in Vietnam was me holding that dud rocket casing. 49 years later, I'm sitting in the early morning light, sipping coffee. A fire blazes in the fireplace. It's snowing outside this past winter. Pondered what to say next in the memoir. There are a few things I believe need to be said. First, there are 1,000 great writers out there who are able to describe both combat, blood and gore, and tale far better than me. I had no intention of telling you the gory details of combat injuries. I only wanted to tell my story. Second, I noticed as I wrote with my pen, I went more easily than when I typed it out. Thirdly, although I have mellowed in my old age and my beautiful peace hippie wife has helped me calm my inner beast, the pen took me back into the fight. My body language changed and my words become harsher. Words like bastards and gooks and piece of shit flows a little too frequently. I went back to the nom. Forgive me that. Just know that I may have moved on, but Vietnam has never really left me. Now, the next couple of pieces are tough, so even more so. Tom Baker, combat death. P.S. Bear with me here because I need to add this. 10 years ago, 40 years after I turned from Vietnam, in the darkened night, when the bourbon had grabbed my soul and the demons were dancing around my room, you didn't do enough, you didn't do enough. I sat in the man cave crying. Tears dripped off my cheeks like the blood off the floor of my chopper. They fell onto the barrel of my .45 pistol I held in my hand. I wanted so much to stop the demon's deaths. There were other voices calling my mind that night. Voices of my dead and wounded friends. Their voices rose above the clatter of the demons, and they were telling me, you tried your best. You hung your ass out in the hell of combat. And the gods of war spared me. Silently, the tears stopped. 45 slid back into the holster and the demons sneaked back into their holes. I think this will be my last entry into my memoir. I left Vietnam 50 years ago. Vietnam never fully left me. I continue to heal with the love of my wife and my family and my friends. I may not have been the warrior I always wanted to be, but I had the privilege and the honor to have served with and stand beside true warriors. I tried. Whew, okay.
I got a couple observations. We got a little more time, I hope.
It's close to 9, we can go get a beer.
You're reading, you're bearing your soul to keep from losing it. What you have done really brings something out in me. When I heard Donald Trump tell the David Johnson's widow, well, he knew what he was signing up for, didn't he? Which is just complete bullshit.
Yeah.
You had no more idea, in reality, what you were signing up for when you went in the army. If somebody had told you this is what's going to come at you, you couldn't have believed it, could you?
No.
You don't know
till you've
that.
been there. No.
Till you get in it. And when Trump said that to that widow, I said, get out of here, man. You got to be kidding me. You're saying this to a widow? That guy went over and lost his life in defense of this country, and you dodged 5 times, and you're telling her that he knew what he was signing up for? I didn't know what I was signing up for when I was in the Navy, and I was in nothing compared to what you've been through. Absolutely nothing.
Well, that shows you how stupid Trump is, and somehow he's convinced his brain that that's the cool thing to say.
It ain't cool to me.
He's
It ain't cool when he tells John McCain he doesn't like people to get caught.
Oh, yeah, or that he always wanted a purple heart.
Yeah. Oh,
And you
boy.
dodged draft.
No one gets the hurt attention. They're supposed to.
Yeah. Thank you for bearing with me. I knew that'd be tough.
Thank you. Letting us feel.
The other is this. If you've never heard Lyle Lovett sing a simple song, you need to listen to it.
Lyle Lovett.
I bought a Pontiac, an album called Pontiac, and it's got the song on there. If I had a boat, I'd go out on the ocean. If I had a pony, I'd ride it on my boat. You ever heard that one?
Yeah.
It's a great, probably a metaphorical song. I don't understand all that. The next to last song then is called Simple Song. Simple Song. And the last verse says, so hear my words of faith and passion. For what I say to you is true. When you find the one you might become, remember part of me is you. What you said tonight reminded me of that verse. It's a 4-verse song with no chorus is what the simple song is. And remember part of me is you.
We're all in it together.
We're linked together. We don't need to be trying to be such independent macho assholes all the time. We need to be linked together and realize it. So,
not everyone goes into the military by choice. In Vietnam, there are so many people drafted, and it just seems to oh yeah, you know what he's talking about. No, this you need to see someone. Yeah, he was formally drafted. They said he had all this stuff going for him, and they just said, well, we just need someone to act as a human shield. And that's what it always kind of sounds like. You know, it's a weird kind of farce, and it's a movie Delta farce, where the very Delta involved. It just seems as if they were sending people out. It's like, well, what about those guys out of this place, and we're just 3 of them, and they were just the weekend warriors. It's like, yeah, we're just going to send you over here. But luckily, other weird shenanigans happened. But it's like, they were going to send all those people out there, even though they wasn't going to be able to do much of anything. That's real sometimes.
They send you over there just about every combat, and when the shit really gets banned, you're not worried about the grandiose of winning the war. You're trying to save yourself and your buddies, and it narrows it down quite a bit. It simplifies life. You shouldn't ever send them in there until every possible avenue of diplomacy has been used up. Politicians who don't go into combat anymore, many never have, can't seem to understand that. My theory is that when you step off the damn skid of that chopper, I'll be right behind you. Sit back and watch it and rattle your saber and say, "Go get them, boys."
Yeah, they made a point about that, the Wonder Woman movie, where they were talking about the armistice. She's like, this isn't right. Generals should be there on the battlefield and not just sitting there, it's as far away as possible. Yeah, that's true, but they don't understand that, one, they were just going to, when they did that armistice, like, you're just saying, hey, we're tired of fighting, you guys agree and think, well, we got all these really bad people, we probably should take them out first, because if they know anything about what Hitler was going to do, he could have saved everything. In World War I, they're just the only war.
You know, when in '66, when Colonel Moore took the first cab into that battle at LG X-ray, you had a colonel on the battlefield. By the time I got there, you didn't find colonels on the ground. You were lucky to find a captain on the ground. And then years later, captains were back at headquarters, and you have lieutenants out there. On the deterioration of
And he was
responsibility.
then eventually, I said, well, nah, he's a second lieutenant, so that's why he's on there instead of, he was almost ready to be a first lieutenant. Like, you're just trying to save someone, saying, yeah, we pulled out as many as we could. Like, you saved the officers who were ready to fight, but once they said, hey, you guys actually have a regular life, they said they sold out.
The military did to some degree.
Tom, thank you for what you've done.
Oh,
I know you're not through, but thank you for what you've done so far.
yeah.
Well, thank you. I wanna get that out there. For me, it started out more of as a healing process. The hawk and dove help enabled me to get to this. And I'm trying to get our vet group to understand that some of these guys, if they would just write, they don't have to worry about trying to get public. It's healing just to write it down, because they can't talk to hardly anybody about it.
It's a catharsis to write it and release it.
It's out of it, but it's not the goal.
Yeah.
You know, during World War II, roughly 1 of every 4 American males was in a uniform. So you're going to run into people on Saturday who've been through something similar to what you've been through. For you, not that often.
No, and nowadays, oh my God, look how many few people in Congress have ever been even in the military. And that's sad, because you've never been there. You can, like Trump, you can be awful tempted to rattle that saber, knowing it ain't your ass or your son's ass or your daughter's ass that's going out there.
I used to be opposed to the draft. When, during the Vietnam War, I was fortunate enough to have a high lottery number, and I took it. I'm not ashamed to say that. But I used to be vehemently opposed to the draft, and now I realize that we should have a draft.
I agree with you 100%.
Because people won't resist illegal wars and unnecessary wars unless that's hanging over their head, unless their children are eligible to be drafted, and then people think they go beyond the rhetoric and think about really what's at stake. There are wars that have to be fought. World War II had to be fought, but I don't believe Vietnam had to be fought. I don't believe that Iraq had to be fought, and all those people died on both sides
Yeah, I actually found out that
and came home crippled.
I did not know. the Nazis invaded Poland, they had actually done a bunch of trumped up stuff, like said, oh, we're trying to protect our German-speaking people in that thing, and it just had a bunch of political prisoners. They said, oh, these are the guys starting right now, we're going to invade you, just because, you know, they created the riot, they're not believing all this stuff. Everyone was followed. I also believe that, you know, like all these like rich people said, yeah, so we're never going to do that. I'm like, okay, but if you're going to keep dodging all these tactics, here's how you're going to do it. You're going to basically get a series of numbers, and these are the numbers of soldiers that you're going to essentially sponsor, like those kids in the whole country. That you're essentially going to make sure that if anything goes wrong, you have to keep track of them for so long, and we won't bother. You can still be a pompous person who say always are, but just like, you know, being a weekend warrior, this is what you have to do. So if you think that your kids aren't going to do that, and you're saying, like, oh, they work like, you know, 5 times what say all these soldiers are, you get 5, so you have to look after 5 soldiers to realize that they're the better one. Yeah.
Makes it more personal.
Let me use a word of, from our incomparable leader, Catherine Carter. She would say, well, gentle folk. I just want to say, one word, I guess, in closing, time to go this evening is, I knew what Tom was chosen to read before we got here. And I have to admit, when I got here and I realized we were going to be a smaller group tonight, there's a little part of me that's going, I wanted more people to be here to hear the last memoir. And I know everybody who has followed him would have wanted to hear, you know.
It's going to be on Mountain Street.
Yeah.
It'll be on Mountain Street.
But it's just not the same as hearing it in person.
No.
Then I thought, actually, it's probably, knowing Tom and his concerns about reading and not taking too long and all that.
Yeah. Maybe we go a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah,
you know,
so glad that happened.
this reading group has become kind of like a little family, you know, and that's unique in of itself. So, I like that. Anything?
Yeah.
All right, I need a shot of beer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
When's our next-
I don't know
when's our
when our
next,
next reading is.
When's the next open mic?
Let's see if I'll go find out from you. Well, I don't know if people know. But yeah,
Probably be
check it out.
like a month.
Pack your bags.
This a month.
And we're after the 4th.
Oh, yeah.